All right, my name is Rio Anderson. Good day. I don't look like a second generation hippie, but I am. So raised here, and then I think I wrote I got busted when I was like 14, and I wrote a letter to the Redwood Record, and it said, fuck this place. I'm out of here. This place is absurd. Like, I worked all summer. I grew my crop. I needed that money for school. I'm out of here. This is a false economy. I'm never coming back. You guys can all F yourself. And they printed it in the Redwood Record. And I was out of here. I was going to go study economics and planning, which is something that we don't do well endemically. So I did that, right? And here I am, 53, back here with my economics degree and my planning degree, trying to make it work. So life is interesting, right? Life is like fascinating how twists and turns bring you to your current reality. But that's where I got interested in values, like what are our core values, what are my core values, and what are like our community's core values. I studied planning, and I did all these plans at the county, at Humboldt County, to like, community development plan. But they never really got into the core of like the Back to the Land movement. Like, that was a moment in history where a bunch of people realized, hey, there's something happening here. You know, that was like and we're gonna move out to the country and screw the system, and we're going to build our own system and build something more magical. And that was like, 50 years ago? Which was cool, and some of it worked, and some didn't. You know, and we're living in the wake of that as second-generation kids and third-generation kids coming up. And so what ties us together in that lineage of wanting to create space together? And I feel like values are one of those things. Like, the reason I got into values is traveling in India. I went like on my walkabout after college and just went by myself for a whole year traveling. And this Indian guy on the bus was like, why are you seeking enlightenment here in India? You should be home taking care of your families. You know, nobody gets enlightenment on vacation. You get enlightenment, getting into the core of your being and understanding what, your blocks are. And this is why I think what's happening around here right now is super exciting with what Florina's doing, what Innerbloom's doing, is like the world within and the world without. It's like we are all kind of working on both, right? And I've noticed in my pursuits, when I try to achieve something in the world without integrity on the inside, it fails miserably. I've done it over and over again. Versus when I have integrity and like the head, the heart, and the hand is in alignment, it seems way better. And I can fail and it doesn't even matter anyway. And so moving home, I started this a while ago. I started it in 2015. We started doing like values conferences. We did one, and then we did another one this year. And so it's a process of just getting together and being able to hold space and speak truth even when there's opposite forms of thinking. And really I think that's key for us, is how do we have these conversations? Because maybe we see it differently. How do we hold space and have difficult conversations and come up with what's true in this collective we call community? Because we got to give room for everybody to be super, like right now I'm kind of in a retreat phase of my life where what was working before outside wasn't really working, so I'm kind of like going inward, cleaning that up, and then going back outwards to see if I can create something that has more integrity. So I think that's what's so beautiful about community, is like you're still here I'm still here. We're still working on it. And then how do we hold space and then create things from a place of truth? That's what I'm interested in, is like, because like the Civil Liberties Monitoring Project, when I was a kid, that was like, they would call the radio, everyone would call the radio when camp was coming down the roads. What a brazen, badass thing to do, you know? Katrina doing this and Innerbloom doing this, and this is what I like about SoHum, is like everything matters. Permaculture, you know, I'm super fascinated with permaculture and try to do that. But it's, to me, it's like a spiritual thing, is to like align yourself with nature in your farming practices, and that's, you know, that energy is real energy, like regenerative farming. If I spray something on my plants that doesn't align with my values, it definitely affects me and how I feel. So I think that at this phase of our existence, this spiritualness and this dialogue and being able to handle political opposition and have conversations with somebody you don't agree with, I think that's vital. And we need to start, we don't need to do anything, but I want to start building institutions, more institutions like the ones that were built, that really hold that integrity. But I have this, for those that weren't there this last year, I have the values that we came up with. You want me to read them? Okay. There's 8 of them. First one, and this was, how many people did we have? We had like 12, 15 people came and went, but it was dynamic, it was fun, and it was, and then we broke out into these subgroups and we kind of refined what we thought and kind of clarified. And so in these, to me, there's like deeply spiritual values for each of us too. And it's interesting, like we reflect each other in this community. But so we have reverence for nature and feel supported by natural integrity. We believe we are part of the local environment, ecology, and want to play a supporting role in the ecological cycle. We agree to steward the local land and our community in the efforts to establish harmony with nature. Absolutely. We should write a constitution, by the way. Southern Humboldt Constitution. 2, in Southern Humboldt, we believe we benefit from understanding ourselves as a large, interconnected family. We value treating everyone with loving compassion, respect, honesty, and caring. No matter our difference, we acknowledge basic common needs of shelter, food, clean water, as well as common needs of empathy, cooperation, forgiveness, and spirituality. We cultivate the mindfulness required to do so. Sounds amazing. We don't do a good job of that. I mean, it hurts me to see homeless people, and it hurts, you know, I think it hurts all of us to see the lack of shelter that's here. So, I mean, that's part of this, is like, you know, not blowing smoke up each other's ass and saying that everything's good. Sometimes we have real problems around here that we don't acknowledge. But we are an interconnected family, and so we could do, you know, more of that. Sheltering people and feeding people. But it has happened. My mom certainly tried. Southern Humboldt community provides a place, support, and opportunity for the arts and creativity to manifest major or positive input and change. We are using fundraising to benefit the community. This leads to a spiritual and educational bond. It is a profound societal and personal tool for self-reflection and growth. Art, right? Art is amazing. Yeah, it's part of, I mean, am I an artist? I don't know. I don't paint, but I certainly, the older I get, feel more urged to like express myself. I think validation and expression is like a human value. It's like we want to bring what's inside out. And a lot of people have this view of the world that needs to be expressed, so total value. Southern Humboldt is our community. Institutions and collaborative efforts support our interconnection, sustainable health, wealth, and well-being. We do this through knowledge sharing, service, nurturing, intergenerational cooperation. Moving forward, this is the legacy on which we draw, and we creatively encourage on engagement in activism, service, and inclusiveness. Yes, I mean, entrepreneurs and bringing institutions and new practices and new radio shows and, you know, Sunshine being on the radio so consistently and talking us through the cannabis regulations. Like, that's a huge deal for this community. KMUD, what would we be without KMUD? That is kind of our dialogue. It'd be hard to understand each other without KMUD, so what a strong and beautiful institution that is. Also, have to say, the first generation and their ability to fight and get through things and stay in their activism was kind of shocking for us because we don't want to fight like that. I'm just saying, like, this is something that I've noticed. A lot of people in the second generation kind of steer clear of the conflict it took to create KMUD and institutions. We should probably learn some new skills to deal with that kind of thing, right? Like, we need to engage each other. Just because you hate somebody doesn't mean you should not talk to them, because probably your hate's misaligned. Yeah, anyway, we have some skill building to do. But I agree that hearing about that conflict was intense, you know, but it took conflict. It takes conflict sometimes to get to the truth, right? I think so. It's been true for me. We value full life support and services from birth to the transition to death. We develop ethos and spiritual awareness of these phases of life and develop community awareness around these milestones and passages of life. Absolutely. Hospice, birthing centers, doulas, that's all been part of our strong cultural identity, right? You know, it is a shame that young kids don't have more activities, but that was the same when I was a kid 50 years ago. So, like, how to build more institutions to nurture various phases of life would be good. We believe every generation benefits from interconnection and knowledge sharing from other generations. We support intergenerational support and collaboration. Absolutely. Like, living in other communities where there's like old folks home and nursery schools has always been like, why don't we have old folks homes that are nursery schools? You know, like, if we could get creative and bring our true values together, there's so many innovative ideas that, you know, like, I just remember being a kid and around here and having just all the parties, and it was always old people and young people together. How to get that, keep that going. I don't know, something happened with COVID where we're very separated, but yes, more of that. But I think the key to these value-based community building is conversations, is holding space. That's why I'm so proud of Innerbloom. And we at Chautauqua want to do some more of that. It's just like, can we talk about this stuff? Can we search out the world inside and also search out the world outside and align ourselves? I don't know. It'd be nice. We welcome new people to Southern Humboldt, absolutely, and continue to educate our community about our history and the evolution of our unique culture. We should be proud and we should be welcoming. You know, new people come here and you know, how do they know all the stuff that's happened? And how do we bring them in There's a whole new wave of new people right now buying property from the city. Who are they? Where are they? I don't know. I've heard they're some cool people, but like retirees from the .com era, be awesome to like incorporate them or figure that out. We promote openness and tolerance of the balance of power. We cultivate societal integrity while nurturing a sustainable economy. Absolutely. That's vital for me. That's what I studied, is sustainable economy stuff. I love what Katrina's doing, like tirelessly trying to like create culture and like bring people together, like, and the wellness stuff and meditation, and like for me and my kids, it's like life's a journey, and that's what I love about this community, is that we actually like I never feel alone, because I feel like everybody knows me or something about me. Like I've lived in big cities and I've lived other places and I feel absolutely alone. And I've realized, or I've read something that said aloneness isn't just being alone, it's a disconnect. You know what I mean? Like being alone is amazing. Meditating, being quiet, but disconnected from everything. That's a feeling of aloneness. And so to not feel disconnected and to feel that community exists here is a super endearing thing for all of us, I think, right? But I think so anyway, values is something that I feel like we should continue talking about and continue discussing, like truth. I mean, I follow Sai Baba and in India, and his 5 values are truth, righteousness, like right conduct, love, peace, and nonviolence. He says those are the 5 unifying truths that bring people together. Like, what if we could agree on, and not just those, but like, I think it's the process is more interesting than the outcome. Like, what if, and in Japan, in communities, they call them mois. They break up communities by interest groups. So if you're interested in crocheting or art, you get in this little group and they all meet and they develop kind of little groups that way. There's so many ways to like organize our community. But I think it starts with this, with like, for me, like I felt in the past, I've been chasing false idols or false reflections of myself, money or status or women or, things for the wrong reason. And I think that getting back to like a space where you're integrating wholeness, and this has been amazing these last few years for me, with the loss of my mom, and sometimes it's the most painful thing that brings the most beautiful thing alive. And so the painfulness of losing my mom has also brought alive my ability to deal with pain and my ability to just like sit with it. And sometimes that's like the most freeing thing that's possibly happened for me. Like I'm not running to try to find something to fill that void as much. I still want to go running towards good things, but no, I just think that like that journey, that spiritual journey that we're all on, is it's part of this community. Like, we're gonna try to make shit. We're not gonna be a Hollywood star here. We're not gonna do anything that isn't here. We're gonna live our life here, and we're gonna achieve the things within this, and it doesn't really matter, but it matters to us. And the small thing of like creating space for people and being honest and getting to a space of community back into a space of community and development, I think is going to be huge. So I don't know, that's way off topic, but yes, sir. So community values, we also went into personal values: curiosity, honesty, knowledge, art, creativity, family, responsibility, fun, mindfulness, caring, compassion. And then we came up with project ideas. Project ideas were find somebody good at proposals and put together a special project that involves various communities, mutual cooperation to achieve, for which there might be a Senate or I don't know, foundation. Find some more money. Having a place for seniors to receive nursing and care, natural childbirth trainings for midwives, time bank set up, SoHum chapter of handing out credits for people to work, teach kids hobbies, community sauna and showers, zip lines. Yeah. But I think that the goal, what I really want to talk about, is like the spiritual benefit we get from community. To me, if we achieve it, it's cool, but what we learn from each other, and like for me, like I need to engage people that I disagree with and be realistic. Like, let's stop saying yes and then not showing up. I'm talking to myself. Like, if we could create more community institutions and more build on things with a more honest and integral plan, it has to make financial sense. It has to like to achieve and be supported to like continue. I mean, the reason, this community has supported certain things, but we're in a kind of a weird moment right now where our economic base just got swept out. So now seems to be a time like, who are we serving? Who are our customers? We've talked about tourism for 10 years. We're still waiting to find, it's starting, but I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is we have a lot of shared values. We just need to start collaborating in more authentic and more planning for success, I guess. It's like, if and inclusiveness, like a lot of my stuff has been all by myself or just like solo. And I don't think people can achieve what they really want to by themselves. That it wasn't true in the past. Like the thing about that's different is like when the first generation showed up here, it was like a bunch of poor people showed up here all at once and just raged, partied, and all had the same needs at the same time. And so it's not like it's a little different now. Like we have different needs and we have different people. But I think like this space is super important because it's bringing shared values together to like create needs or to explore needs to collaboration. So anyway, I would like to play a role of planning. I was trained in it. I never do it, but I'm doing it all with all my businesses and like being like engaging each other in conversation. I'm a trained mediator and facilitator, so getting people to talk better and business plan, like if you have project ideas, or not that I want to talk about it all the time, I'm just saying maybe there's a forum where we could create and really start engaging and helping each other achieve the things that have integrity to us. Because if we don't, there'll be a void. It's like permaculture. It's like you don't weed a garden without putting what you want in it. You have to keep it, all the niches full of the stuff you want so that the weeds don't, it's like, right? So our community has open niches. We should fill it with what we want. All right, that's it. you.